I have gotten over 4,000 watch hours already, which is amazing, and that's only been about 5 months or so. And that shows that a lot of you are enjoying my content. However, most of you watching my videos are not subscribed. If half of you could hit the subscribe button below, that will help me tremendously. Thank you all for the support. We're going to go over some of the tips and tricks that work for me, and hopefully we can get you unstuck. Hello and welcome everybody. If it's your first time here and you don't know me, my name is BearCozy. I strive to make not only entertaining, but also educational videos. I like to make account progress videos, and in general, I like to have a good time. With me, what you see is what you get, and I like to be very real in life and on camera. So yesterday, this is going to be a follow-up video from yesterday, and as you can see, Zatlux is soloing regular Void Tower. Now I know this is regular Void Tower, this isn't hard. However, I think that's pretty cool. One hero can solo everything, and he is the best hero to do this. Now, yesterday I made a video, which was a showcase of Zatlux soloing the first bunch of floors, the first, 33 floors. And we talked about exactly why I made the video and showcased him off a little bit in his gear. And that video was a follow-up to a video I made on exactly how to get 300% crit damage. As a matter of fact, Zatlux right now is around, he's at 318% is what I'm trying to say. He is over 300, he's around 320, but he's exactly at 318. That is what I was trying to say, and my brain put all three of those together. So right now, we'll see how this goes. That was an epic fail right there, but sometimes the AI is not the best. However, Zatlux should have enough sustainability and enough survivability to be able to survive this. He is in a revival set. He's going to get a little bit of HP back. If he fails, it's going to be unfortunate. They're pretty much all red, so he is going to be taking, man, oh man, he is going to be taking a lot of extra damage here. That's kind of going to be unfortunate. If it wasn't for that fail AI targeting system, if he went for anybody but the girl in the back, he would have been fine. And then let's see if he has enough to live. I don't think he's going to be able to live, but we'll see if he has enough to live with all these bonus turns. They are fired. They're not taking as much damage as they should. Again, the same. Are you kidding? Wow. So this one looks like it's a AI targeting fail. I might have to do a little bit of manual input there. Let's go ahead and fix it, and we'll watch him continue climbing. All right, so we just watched Zatlux fail on that one. Unfortunately, that was a fail. That was an example of bad AI targeting, which does happen. I don't know why, but he tends to target the enemy with Yolanda's buff on. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to do a little bit of manual input. However, this is actually a very good example of what can happen, because I've noticed anytime that there is a Yolanda on the team, or Mathasia, or God forbid, both of those. I don't think there's both of those, but there are some very, very tanky teams with either Mathasia or Yolanda. What can happen is people actually getting stuck, and I've been getting a lot of comments on people getting stuck. Now, this floor, I'm going to end up having to... See what I mean by bad AI targeting? This floor, I'm probably going to have to end up manually. However, what happens a lot of times that I've noticed is people get stuck on these floors. So here's what I want to do to help you guys out, because I've gotten stuck on these floors as well. What I'm going to do is I'm unfortunately going to have to manual this because I cannot click fast enough on any other hero. Zatlux always goes for the hero with Yolanda's buffs, and that is unfortunate, right? That is the fault of AI. He should go for everybody else first. So that was a real good example of seeing where people get stuck. The majority of people get stuck on Yolanda and Mathasia teams, especially if they are tanky teams. I believe this is a tanky team, and depending on who he targets and how it goes, that may be good, may be bad. So what I want to do is, since I've gotten a few comments about people being stuck around floor 70, 79, 80, I believe floor 80 is the first Mathasia team. Don't quote me on that. I don't remember. What I want to do is I want to go through this video. We're going to get to floor 80, and then the next video, I'm going to break down exactly how to beat floor 80. As I mentioned, I've had several comments on people being stuck on floor 80, and especially floor 90 through 100. I find that 95, 97 are a sticky point. But once you find a way to beat a Mathasia team like this one, once you find a way to beat it once, you can kind of do it again. The whole trick to this is stalling the process. If you don't have enough damage to blast your way through the enemy team, The trick to it is to bring a taunt hero or some kind of hero that shuts down their abilities. For me, Lunar Melt works really well. I've gotten her fairly early, not too early, probably 3-4 months into the game. And then I actually ended up pulling a few more copies of her, surprisingly. I think I have, she's like A3 or A4 right now, which is very surprising, but she works very well. The other heroes that work really well are Jonathan. You can bring in Brand. Brand has a taunt. And who's the other guy that has a taunt that looks like Jonathan? You can bring him in, Charles. So you can either bring Charles, Jonathan, and there are lots of heroes with taunts. I don't have a lot of them. Right now I still have a small roster. I am very limited. I'm not free to play, but I am very limited on resources, and I really don't spend money on this game other than the Magic Pass. And as of the last 2-3 months, I've been buying the daily gem pass, and that's basically it, just to help me get some more shards and to help me get be able to grind a little bit more when I have the time. So that is what we're going to do. I'm going to go through. I'm most likely going to be cutting some of this video out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pick it up around floor 75, floor 80, and I'll start there. I've made a few guides on, maybe not necessarily those floors specifically, but I have made a few videos on how to beat Mathasia teams, how to beat Yolanda teams, and a lot of it, you just need a stall team. You need a hero that can taunt, whether it's AoE or single target taunt, and you want to be able to target and taunt Mathasia and or Yolanda. That is your first priority, because if Yolanda reses everybody, that is very, very bad, right? Or if Mathasia reses everybody, excuse me, if Yolanda puts up those giant shields, you spend all that time going through their HP, and if your heroes don't do enough damage to kill the enemies, Yolanda will put up those giant shields from the missing health bars, and you have to do it all over again, and most likely by that time your team is dead. So tip number one is be faster than the enemy team. That is going to be tip number one, right? That is priority, and that'll help you not take unnecessary damage. As you can see, Zatlux is faster than everybody else, at least for now, and as we keep climbing, we'll see what happens. Tip number two would be bring an AoE taunt hero. Either AoE is the best or a single taunt with some kind of a counterattack, right? And there are heroes that do that. You can go through the index and you can actually search by that skill, and that'll show you all of the heroes that have that ability. So that is tip number two. And the tip number three would be take your time, right? The idea here is to buy some time, buy a couple of turns. So what you want to do is either, if defense down doesn't work, if you can't kill them fast enough, you can always bring Gaia's Renewal. You can bring that as a heal, right, to help you sustain, to help you survive. And then what you can also do is bring the Water Prison stun spell, right? Bring the spell, bring the stun, and then what you can actually do is you can actually stun Mathasia right after. So you taunt her first, then you stun her the second turn, and then if you have anybody else like Brand that has a chance to taunt, that might help as well. So that has the potential ability to buy you 3 rounds. That should be enough. Hopefully you can finish them off in 3 rounds, maybe 4. 4 is kind of pushing it. If you're going over 4, that's the end of the story. So right now, Zatlux is still soloing floor 44. He's going on 45. We did get stuck on floor 36 because of bad AI targeting, and I've talked about that. That was kind of interesting. That was kind of a fluke where he always went for the same target every single time. And then, of course, that he just loses 3 turns right there. And considering he's not a defense-based hero or he's not a health-based hero, over time, he ended up dying because he kept on going for the same target. And like that, just like that, that was the worst thing he could have done because CC is immune. So now I don't know if he's going to have enough damage. I honestly don't know if he's going to have enough damage on his basic to be able to kill anybody. We're going to find out. If he fails here, that might be a fluke just due to the targeting. There's really no way to set the priority. And considering you cannot click fast enough on the new wave when he picks a target, you can't click fast enough on the hero you want him to attack. You have to physically pause it, or you have to go on 1 speed. And so that would require manual input, which I'm okay with. I'm sure he could do it had he picked the right target. And he still might be able to do it here. But sometimes you run into these things where the AI is just kind of not great. Definitely needs improvement. But overall, the game is awesome. So I'm really enjoying the game. we're going on floor 46. I'm not sure how much of this you want to see. I was planning on either stopping around floor 50 or picking up around floor 50. I don't want to make too many of these videos, but we'll take them one step at a time. We'll see how they go. And if you have any questions up to this point, this should be fairly easy. They're all about level 43. And as I mentioned before, if you are having trouble anywhere on floor 50, floor 60, floor 70 and above, make sure, number one, is to make sure your heroes are faster than the enemy team. That will help you tremendously, and that's going to help you not take a lot of unnecessary damage. Number two, start thinking about a sustained team. Maybe bring somebody that AoE taunts. Maybe bring somebody that AoE stuns. At this point, you probably don't have a stun set. I wouldn't recommend that set anyway. That's not really that great. You can bring a stall team and you can figure out what works for you. Try different things, as I mentioned before. Anybody that AoE taunts, bring a water prison stun spell. That should buy you some time. Even if that buys you one round with Mephasia, that should help a lot. Hey, you're still watching the video. That means you're enjoying the content. And if you're enjoying the content, that means somebody else will also. Click the subscribe button below and help this video reach more people so they can enjoy it as well. And then what you can do is you can bring heroes like Antonua. Antonua I got from my very first $5 purchase. I don't know if that's still going on, but that was my very first newbie purchase. Spend $5 or more, you get Antonua for free, and that's what I did. I spent $5, I got Antonua. I figured, hey, guaranteed hero, why not? And she actually turned out to be really, really good. She does take a lot of turns, especially in the beginning when she uses her ultimate ability. She can take up to 3 turns, which is really nice. So that works out. That provides you a lot of extra damage, even if you don't have great gear. So you can bring her. She's fairly easy. You can bring Zatlux, as I mentioned. Zatlux is free. And you can actually bring in anybody else. Rodira will work. She's a little bit sustained. She is a sustained hero. She's a healing hero. However, what you can probably do is, because she provides everybody's heals and defense up, that works out really, really well. So that should help you as well if you bring Rodira. And experiment with the heroes you have. Try different combinations. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times. At this point, that's exactly what I have to do, right? I have to experiment. At this point, I found what works for me, and I'm sticking to it. I'm trying different heroes, but the core of my team is the same. Now, primarily I've been using Brand, and I've been focusing on building Brand because of his his shields, right? He provides really good shields, and I've been focusing on not only building him, getting him better, but also ascending him. And Brand has been providing really good shields, and that works really well with Nathalia, because Nathalia does need some kind of a buff to make her trait work. We'll see if Zatlux dies here with all the turns from Jacob. He looks like he might with the defense down, unfortunately. It's going to be very, very close. Lydia is, yep, there he goes. So Zatlux is dead. That's probably the end of that. Looks like he stopped around floor 50, which is okay. He did not make it through floor 50 because of bad AI targeting. He targeted Lydia, which of course deflects all of the incoming attacks, so he lost all that. And then with Jacob taking as many turns as he did, which is okay, right? What I can do at this point, I do have a team that works really well. So what I can do is, here's what I can do. Brand works really, really well here because of the shields. And I like to pair Brand with Nathalia. And of course, if you don't have Brand, if you don't have Nathalia, you don't have to. Opal works really, really well. Antonua works really well as well. And if you start to get stuck, bring Lunar Mel. At this point, I know that I don't need Lunar Mel. You can also do something like this. You can bring in Bulin. If you have Bulin, Bulin's great. Gorella's okay. He does good damage, but he's more on the sustain side. You can also bring Evira. My Evira is not geared. Right now, who has her gear? Who's got your gear? Oh, Garonal. I've been using Garonal. She's missing a lot of glyphs, by the way. I've been using Garonal. She's working really, really well. So there are lots of options, right? What I personally try to do, let's go put this on auto. Opal is very, very good. She needs to go first, by the way. If you did not know, she needs to go first for her joint attack off of her ultimate, which is not called her ultimate. I think it's called her special. They kind of messed that one up, but it is her ultimate. She uses it first. She gains joint attack, and then if any enemies die, she actually extends the joint attack by a turn, which is awesome. So this team works really well. What I try to do is I try to bring one wood hero, one fire hero, and one water-based hero to make sure that I'm covered. And of course, that's subject to change depending on who is on the enemy team. But as you can see, this is a fairly basic team. Antonua is fairly basic. Zatlux is basic. You can get him for free. Opal, we just had a summon event for Opal. All right, let's go ahead and do floor 50. We're going to go in with this team. This should work fine. If not, it should work fine. But if not, we'll bring in Brand. We'll bring in the big guns. But one thing I like here, actually, you know who can work really well if you don't have Antonua is Erendil. Erendil has joint attack, which is awesome as long as your enemy, or as long as your teammates, excuse me, as long as your teammates get a critical strike, Erendil will join in with the joint attack. So you can also build a joint attack team, build Opal, you can build Erendil, and then if you want to build either Antonua, Zatlux, or Jacob doesn't really have joint attack. Bullen has some joint attack. Jacob is pretty good if you are getting stuck, although it takes him some time to get going. So there are options, and the joint attack team will work fairly well, because even though you may not have good gear and a lot of crit damage, you can get a lot of joint attacks in, and you can get a lot of extra attacks, 2-3 extra attacks for every one of your hero attacks. So here's what we're going to do. That was floor 50, and since Zatlux got stuck, I have some rewards to claim, but not just yet. Here's the plan. Since a few of you asked me for help on clearing floor 79 and 80, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind it off camera to floor, let's say 75, 77. I'll stop somewhere around there. In the next video, what we're going to do is I'm going to go through those 2 floors, maybe 3 floors, a couple before, a couple after, depending on how long the video is. And I'll talk about exactly what works for me and my thought process and what you could do. I'll try to throw in some hero options for you as well, what you can do. There are always options for different things. If you don't have heroes, there are other heroes that work. And if you don't have the crit damage, you don't need 250% crit damage. Some of you have it, some of you don't. Some of my heroes have over 300, some of them don't. Antonua is only at like 189, and she works just fine because she takes 3 turns. So she works out okay. So there are options with gear, there's options with speed. We'll talk about all of that. Maybe your heroes are not fast enough if you're struggling, or maybe you're just missing the hero order, right? Sometimes order is the biggest thing that matters. And as I mentioned before, if this doesn't go well, what I like to do is I like to use Lunar Mel. And Lunar Mel needs to be fast. She doesn't need to go first. It'll help if she goes first. She does need to go before the enemy Mathasia or the enemy Yolanda. That is the cutoff point, because if you miss that cutoff point, that is going to be very, very tough to come back from, because now you're giving up 1 damage dealing hero spot to bring in Lunar Melt because she controls. So the idea for her is to go really fast, and right now mine is at 200. What we're going to do is we'll talk about all of that and more in the next video. I'm going to get to floor 77, 78, and then we're going to go through all of those options. I am looking for Lunar Mel. I was trying to show you her stats. And then we're going to go through, oh, she's actually 215 now because she got ascended a couple times. She's a lot faster than I thought she was. So that's going to do it for this video. In the next video, we're going to pick up around floor 78, 79, floor 80, and I'll go through all of the options as far as I can. I don't have every single hero, so keep that in mind. I am very, very low spend, and right now I need your help to get into the content creator program, because right now I am very, very struggling with resources like most of you. So if you would do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button down below. That will help me tremendously. It will help my channel to grow. I really, really need to get to 1,000 subscribers to get into the content creator program. Most of you watching these videos enjoy my videos, and I have gotten over 4,000 watch hours already, which is amazing, and that's only been about 5 months or so, and that shows that a lot of you are enjoying my content. However, most of you watching my videos are not subscribed. Something like 76% of you are not subscribed. So if half of you could hit the subscribe button below, that will help me tremendously. I thank you all for watching. Thank you all for the support. I'll see you in the next video. We're going to go over some of the tips and tricks that work for me, and hopefully we can get you unstuck.